So we have Ring Yu from Shenzhen to be sharing with us her journey and the story of her life in Shenzhen and the plan in the sitting planning. Also, we have Miranda Siu, who is based in Sydney, focusing on sustainability. So before we go forward to the presentation, let's go for a round of introduction of our audience. So Miranda, would you like to start a quick introduction?
Yep, sure. So I'm Miranda Sue. So I'm Australian. I'm based in Sydney, as Anita said, and currently I'm working as a sustainability consultant for a consultancy here based in Sydney. And so we help organisations wherever they are. Whatever their sustainability objectives are, whether it's to be carbon neutral or whether it's to put in place communication stakeholder plans or to address their supply chain. We've kind of, or put in place circular economy principles, all that sort of thing. So in my background professionally is previously as an accountant, and also I'm experienced in project management and have worked for a number of different organizations.
Thank you very much, Miranda. And Ring.
Hello, everyone. I'm Ring, and I'm a project manager who is managing a group of project managers in Oppo company. And for different as Miranda, I'm just from a view of a citizen of Shenzhen. I will want to share my view of how Shenzhen has been changed and evolved from what I start to live here, and then how it's heading to. So I'm excited to share about my experience.
Thank you very much, Ring. And Andre.
Hi, I'm Andre. I'm from Luxembourg. I'm currently doing IT tech support, some web development, and I'm considering to start some new projects soon, so stay tuned.
Thank you. Very exciting indeed. So we have got our team based in Australia, in China, and Luxembourg. So 3 different time zones. Okay, let me get back to the screen. So without further ado, let's invite Ring to share her experience in Shenzhen and her recent trip. Thank you.
Okay, so because I have some issue with the Teams software, and Anita will help me with the presentation, but I will do the speaking. And so before we start, although it's experiencing of the city planning of Shenzhen, however, because I went to Xi'an last week, so I would like to start with my sharing of my journey. So let's go. So this is what I've been seeing. First day in Xi'an is a city full of history, and what we've been seeing is the tomb of the territorial warriors, which is from the Qin dynasty, and then you can see all the figures who have been made over thousands of years, but they still look so alive, and there's a huge amount of it. What we're seeing is just a small glance of the overall area.
Mm-hmm.
So it's very impressive.
Yes, it is.
And then here we've been seeing is it's more of a cultural how to say combination, because you can see from the left side is the traditional, and then it's the young people who's doing the stand-up community, and then on the right side you can see is the elder people who's doing also the traditional instrument. And however, on the right side, and there's young people doing the pop music singing, and this all happens in the same place in same day.
Mm-hmm.
So it's quite special, because on that day when I saw this thing, I was like, wow, this is incredible. And then they are so enjoyable, and visitors then we don't feel like a visitor. We feel like we are just belong to this community, and then everyone's having fun. And those the communities that on the left side on the picture, they actually, when they sit down to relax on the same table with me, they start to do the practicing, and then I was sitting next to them and listen to them. So it's so much fun.
Oh, that's wonderful. Looks like they are having a lot of friends around.
Yes, and then it's kind of a mix of the traditional Chinese music with the Westerns. So it's a combination of the culture.
Very much a mixed cultural city.
Yep. And then I went to the Shanxi Province Museum, which they have a lot of ages, items with ages of history. So from the left picture, you can see they are from like 1600 BC, so like 1,000 years. But what they made is spectacular, very dedicated, and very elegant. So it's very impressive. And surprisingly, we can see those people, even though we think they're old, like old ages, but they still have a sense of humor. So you can see the right top of pictures. They have made cute items actually. And I want to give a special introduction to these items on the right bottom. It's special because it doesn't have a top on it, so you cannot feel water. You can see it's like a kettle, but you cannot feel water from the top. Actually, you will need to turn it down upside down and then feel water inside, and then when you flip it back, the water will flip it back into the belly of this kettle, and so the water won't go out, and then you can pull the water out. So in that age, like 1,000 years ago, they can make this kind of China items with those techniques. It's very impressive.
Yes, very smart indeed. How would we imagine we fill the water from the bottom?
Yep. So that's why it's an amazing trip, and I encourage you to come visit China and then come visit Xin'an or like the city I'm about to introduce, which is Shenzhen.
For sure.
Okay, so then let's start with the journey of Shenzhen. So I did some research on the internet and then found out that we, as a citizen of Shenzhen, I know that Shenzhen's economy is growing massively, but we don't have the idea of how much it grows or how fast it grows until I saw these graphs. So you can see from the years of 1980s to currently, both economy and the population is growing massively. And then you cannot see the because it's Chinese character on the right down graph, but it's the yes, but you can read the characters, but it's saying that the red line is the local people, and the green line is actually the people that come from other cities, other provinces, or other countries. So it means that Shenzhen is really a city that with mixed culture and then mixed background, and it is people base is quite. Sorry, I have a phone call. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Yeah, the population is very dense, right?
Yes, it's quite diverse. So, and then from those years of growing, Shenzhen has become a city of growing economy, and but however, not just economy, but it also has the growth of population, and also have the growth of the technology-wise and innovation, and then it also becomes one of the windows of China, because its location is near Hong Kong and Macau and like other close to other like Southeast countries.
Very good.
Yes, and sorry, we need to stay in. Yes. However, with those population and economy growing, which leads to other like potential issues, for example, space, because it came from a fishing village, so you can imagine how the foundation is made like nothing. So it quickly exposed with the space city. We don't have enough room. And then the second is the living quality, because we have so many people coming to Shenzhen, but the building, the construction, and then the livelihood, or the education, everything, they cannot catch up so quickly. And then also with the city expanding, the environment issues also start to popping up.
Mm-hmm.
So this is the growing, the issues that behind the growing.
Mm.
And how Shenzhen try to solve those problems, we can see from the city plan in this year that it actually have a full map on how to solve all these issues and lead to a more sustainable city.
For sure.
Yep. So I'm only picking the community circle as an example, because for us, we are the people that living in this city. What we care the most is where we live and how the living condition, is it comfortable, is it satisfied for us. So that's why I want to show you this circle. So for this,
Hello, Ring. Are you okay? I couldn't hear you. We can't hear you. Okay, let's give Ring a minute to return from the audio. So basically, I can give a bit of interpretation. So for this circle, the whole principle to make it accessible in terms of physical location between home and social senior citizen daycare. We also have open space so people can enjoy fitness.
hello?
Hello, I can hear you now.
Oh, goodness. Finally, I was trying to stay up. Okay, so can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yes. Okay, then let me continue. So first, they did a lot of, they released quite some living policies to restrict the housing, and then encourage more people to have the comfortable space to live. And then based on that, they have a more full plan up to build up like a community circle. So as you can see, within 5 minutes of walking, we have space mostly for like children and elders on daily basis, so they can enjoy their daily life. So when, for example, parents, we go out to work, we don't need to worry, oh, if our children has been taken care of, are they safe? Would they running out on the street? Something like that. And for the elders, they can also enjoy their day life with their grandkids. in China, we often have the grandparents taking care of the grandchildren, so that the parents can like go out to work.
Okay.
And for 10 minutes, yeah, that's for 5 minutes, and then 10 minutes of working, we will have a multifunction construction for like healthcare, educations, and cultural events, so that what we needed is basically there in 10 minutes. That's I think that's quite thoughtful, because when our kids growing up, they are eventually to school, and how can we make sure they are also safe, and then they're well taken care of, and it's convenient.
Absolutely.
So that's very considerate. And in 5 minutes of working, we have police office, and then we have shopping malls and like middle school. So everything we need is basically in this circle that is convenient and easy to reach out.
Yes, and when we look at the distribution of distance, more of the middle school student can walk easily, so they are okay to walk further, while the primary school student and the kindergarten student are closer to home.
Yes, that's very considerate, and also we have those sharing bikes. So it's easier to like grab a bike on the street, and then they can ride to the school easily, even if it's 15 minutes.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm. Yes. So this is just a pick, but I'm confident that it with this community circle, you will be massively help the citizens like us to have a happier, healthier life.
That's the balance and the options we get.
Yeah. So besides of the home-wise circle that we care most of, Shenzhen also has its big plans of sustainable development. So from the most bigger size, it copes with its nearby cities such as Guangzhou and Zhuhai and Zhongshan and Hong Kong and Macau. So we would like to grow as a city alliance, so that we do everything together. We're heading to the same direction, and then so we can build our strength more strongly. And for the city itself, it also has its own plan on where should we plan for like the CBD. Those are for really the community growth, and those with the green areas to protect the environment, so as to have the balance. And how do we use the ocean resources wisely? And then from east to west, we have the long coastline. How do we use them? So it has its own plan based on its own structure. And also, because Shenzhen has the Shenzhen city, when it start to grow, so we had a lot of like technology company coming in, such as Tencent, blah, blah. So this is naturally become one of our advantage. So we are developing 5G, AI, IoT. So it's hard to imagine, but when I am in Shenzhen, when I call a cab, it took like 2 minutes, and then a cab will just arrive, and then I can just go anywhere I want. And also the subway is everywhere, so I can just walk like 2 minutes and then get into a subway and then go everywhere I want. So it's really convenient, and then I don't need to bring anything like cash. I don't need to bring any cash. Actually, I didn't see cash for I think years. Because so I all using WeChat Pay, bank card, and just they can pay everything. I just bring my cell phone. I don't even need to bring my like keys. Just the card, and then I can go everywhere freely. So it's too convenient. That when I went to Xi'an, I kind of feel inconvenient because how come the cars has not arrived yet? How come it takes so long? So, and also when we order delivery food, they arrive at our home and then ring the doorbell. Oh, it arrived, and then I can cook. So it's really help us help the people on a daily basis. And then our technology also using healthcare and like education and culture, because for example, I want to see what kind of book in the library, and then I just go to the program and then check if I have the book, and then I can preserve it, and then I can go pick it up, or I can ask the library to send to me. So I don't need to even go there, and then I can get everything I want. And then for the education, we have a lot of online education programs that allow us to like learn everything online, and then they will show us like AI teaching, something like that. And also all the hospital in Shenzhen, we now can just if I want to book this doctor, I can go online and check if he's available and when he will be available, and then I just reserve his number, and then I can go there at that specific moment, and then I can get the care I needed. So it's really convenient and moving so fast in the technology wise. I can't imagine it.
Can I ask you a question?
Mm-hmm.
Well, how much of that was happening before 2020, and how much of it is since 2020? Because everything you've described, we've had now in Australia as well, but only because people had to, because we're all locked in our homes for the coronavirus. Like before that, people didn't bother with it, sort of thing. People just were happy to go out.
Actually, before the corona, we also have that. But as you say, as two, it's the same. We know it's there. We just did not use it as often. It doesn't seem as essential as now. But when the virus starts, and then we are locked down, and then we start to use everything. And then we found, we can use it, and we can use that, and it's so convenient now. And then we see the benefits of it. So it's like
are people mostly working from home there as well?
Currently, actually, no. We mostly work in office now. So that's why currently I'm talking.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you're not having lockdowns for coronavirus and everything?
A bit pity, because we experienced a few months in China, and it's I feel hard because we cannot go out, and then it's inconvenient. But if you get used to it, I would like to know how you feel about it, though.
I feel great about working from home, and I don't think anyone will go back to working in an office now that we got used to working from home, because it saves so much time not having to commute somewhere.
And the technology has been good here too, with Wi-Fi and all the tools that allow us to collaborate. However, we do discover some teams actually collaborate and create better when we are all standing next to each other with the whiteboard that we draw and trying to make sure our message are kind of agreeable without misinterpretation.
The stand-up meetings and things like that, yeah. Look, a lot of employers are going to a model where they will have 1 or 2 days in the office, and then the rest of the time people work from home.
Well, you see, in China, like for Chinese people, we have this working hard problem. So when we had that time in last year, we work from home. Everyone is working from home, and it seems like it's harder to balance work with life. you will feel like, if especially I was working with the foreign team, which is in US, and then the time difference makes us like when we are going to sleep, they are starting. So but with working from home, there's no stop on it. So it feels like anytime you need to be online.
Okay. I've always been very strict about knockoff time. I've always made sure that I'm monitoring the time, and when it's time to finish, then that's when. And also, I keep a separate space in my home, which is my workspace. And then if I'm in that space, I'm working. If I'm out of that space, I'm not working. It's a very clear line.
Yeah, I think it's great if you can do that. But as I say, Chinese people has this working hard issue. So even if me personally, I need to have some time for myself, but sometimes just you need to get things done, and then people will call you, something like that. So we need to keep going. So, but working in the office, I can sort of, when I get out of office, and not I'm blocking everything out. So I will put a stop on it.
Yes, that's very good balance. And I noticed there's a last chapter in Xinjin, we believe.
That's actually I'm grateful that Anita sent me that city planning map. I didn't see it before, and then when I start to see it, I actually believe that Shenzhen has its power to make it happen. So I'm showing this picture is when I was running by the bay, and then I saw this view in Shenzhen. It's wonderful. So I said, I think we can make it.
Yes, fantastic. And thank you so much for your presentation, Ring, and very good local experience. And also you really balance your life running and doing work, working hard, and utilize all the technology to build this beautiful town.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right, without further ado, we will move to the second presentation with Miranda. So let's go to the second part.
Can I just share my presentation if that's okay, Anita?
You want to share your screen? That's good. Excellent. Let me unshare.
Should that work?
Yep, perfect.
Sorry, I just realized I'm on the wrong slide as well for the start at the beginning. So you guys can all see that?
Yep.
Terrific. I can't see you now just because of the way Teams work, but that's totally fine. So mine is a little bit more theoretical and looking at what programs are already out in place regarding like sustainable and what I call resilient cities, and it's got so many different names, so I've included donut cities in there too. So there's a lot of parallels to what Ring was just saying before, and things in her presentation, which is really nice to see, and we'll see that overlap in the coming slides. So I'd like to start with a good definition, which what is a resilient city? To me, it's a city that's thriving and that can withstand chronic and acute impacts, whether that be climate change or social occurrences, or it could be economic impacts. And there's an initiative called the Thriving Cities Initiative. Hence, there's like so many different names for the same kind of thing. And they define it's a city that is socially and ecologically safe. So socially just and ecologically safe. And so how does it do that? It applies systems thinking, regenerative and distributive design. And this Thriving Cities initiative is actually one started by the C40 network. And so that's where I'm introducing, this is a global network of cities that currently it's 97 cities around the world who are committed to climate action for a healthier and more sustainable future. It started back in 2005, and one of the key distinguishing features of it is that the actions that each city makes in their plan are measurable, and they have to be aligned to the Paris Agreement to limit warming to 1.5 degrees Celsius by 2050, I'm pretty sure is the time frame that they've set. And they cover basically 5 main areas. So each city can sign up to this program or this network, and they have to commit to either one of these 5 or all of these 5 or a combination of these 5 things. So they're up on the screen. So energy and buildings, transportation, urban planning, food, waste and water and air quality, and adaptation implementation is more around like the climate resilience. Like what are, it's a given that climate change is happening. So what are they doing to build what I call the resilience of the city to make sure it can withstand those chronic and acute stresses that I was mentioning before that could be from climate change. So there's a lot, like out of the 97 cities, well, actually that's on the next slide. I'll talk about which ones are included. But because there's a cities focus and there aren't any specific communities that are doing it at the minute, but what they do have is a separate program called the C40 Cities Climate Positive Development Program, which is more at a precinct level. And so I've given the example here because I'm in Sydney. There's a precinct called Barangaroo. That's a new one. It's one of the first ones to be part of this development program, which actually this program actually started in 2009, but Barangaroo has only been has been in development for the last 10 years and is still growing and being developed. And so from the snapshot on the infographic on the left is basically part from their sustainability plan of where they actually got this built environment. So Barangaroo actually has 3 different sections, but this is just one of them, where it has all these 3 massive towers. And so this infographic is showing how they are actually addressing across those 5 key areas that were on the previous slide, and how they're going to be able to meet or what their commitments are in terms of their whole ecosystem. So this is where the systems thinking comes into place. And so they're committed under this program to be carbon neutral, to be water positive, 0 waste, and to make sure that they include that social part of the community well-being by creating spaces and creating a nice place to live, which we kind of saw from what Ring was saying about that, how Shenzhen is building a nice place for people to live as well. And so just at the bottom, because I thought this was more Australia focused, I just put in some of the cities locally that are committed to C40, which is Auckland in New Zealand, Sydney and Melbourne. Shenzhen is actually committed, as is Guangzhou and Hong Kong. So out of those 5, I think Ring mentioned, 3 of them are part of the C40 network. And in Europe, there's like a ton of places. The usual suspects there would be Amsterdam, Copenhagen, and most of Scandinavia, like the capital cities are involved. And so the network is really bringing like the mayors of all these different cities together and to support each other and figuring out how they're going to be able to achieve these different things. And they can set whatever they want as long as it's measurable and aligned to the Paris Agreement as well. And so the whole premise of what C40s is based on, or this idea of a resilient or thriving city, is looking at combining not just the ecological side, but also the social side. And so from an ecological perspective, there's been a lot of research done. So back in 2009, there's a group called the Stockholm Resilience Center, and they came up with this, through all this research, they designed 9 planetary boundaries, which as Earth or humankind, we can operate safely in. And so what this diagram is showing in the green, in the center, that's the safe space. And what it's showing out of those 9 different indicators, which is more of an ecological perspective, where we've actually overshot it. And so if the yellow means that we're reaching, kind of getting like, it's like a warning sign, right? And then the orange is like, yeah, we've totally gone past what would be a safe operating space. And and this was updated in 2015. So while the original study was 2009, this graph here is actually, or this infographic is actually from 2015. So there's 3 of them that you can see that have the orange that we've totally overshot. And so the NMP, that's nitrogen and phosphorus, I'm pretty sure that's pretty much from agricultural land depletion and just mass agriculture and all that sort of stuff. I've forgotten what the EMSY is, so I can't explain that one. But basically, so based on the planetary boundaries, a lady called Kate Raworth, back in 2012, when she was working for Oxfam, created this diagram called the donut. So I feel like this is quite nice similarity to where Ring was in her diagram before, the community and the circle, all the different circles. I'm like, well, this is a donut. So it's fairly similar, not similar concept, but it brings in that social fabric that circle was representing rings. And that is that inner circle, that social foundation. And what this diagram is showing is all those things in the inner circle, on the words on the inside, are things that we sort of need as human beings to be able to live and thrive healthily, right, and sustainably. And so it includes things not just food and water and those basics, but it's also about like gender equality, right to an income. So we're talking, and that sort of references to modern slavery, which is a big conversation topic at the minute. And so it's all those things that we need as a human being to survive. Then on the outer side is that ecological ceiling or the environmental ceiling, or which is a safe space, which is based on that planetary boundaries, which this one. So it's basically saying these are all the things that we shouldn't do or overshoot for us to be able to all thrive from the inside circle of the things that we all need. So they're related, they're totally related, because if we need food, we've got to make sure that we're not over farming or doing too much damage, right? So I think that's stuff that most people understand these days. And so what she designed was then this in between is what she calls the donut, is the actual safe safe and just, as in socially just, operating space for humans to actually survive and thrive in. And so this is the basis for the C40 cities. This is the base for Thriving Cities initiative. And so that's why I've sort of gone through the process of explaining the academics behind it. So just to wrap up, then I've just included a few resources here. So while the donut is great in theory, it's like, well, what's actually happening in real life? And that C40's program is an example of that. Donut Economics Action Lab also includes some of these examples of the Thriving Cities initiative and other ways that you can actually interpret that donut and apply it to real life. So they could be applied to a community level, whereas like the C40 cities is definitely at a city level, could be even bigger, but they all have the same premise. And what else is there? Oh yeah, and so Melbourne's got a few different things going on, and there's another program out there called the Resilient Cities. So there's quite a few different things out there, but they're all trying to achieve the same thing. They're all trying to make sure that we're regenerative. And when people say regenerative, they're saying that because we've depleted so much that it's not just repairing anymore. It's not just recycling or any of those other rewords. It's regenerative because we have to restore and build back what we've already taken away, either socially or environmentally. And the distributive design concept is about sharing it. So once we've figured out a solution, let's share it to make sure that it's accessible to other people so they can also then do it in their own environment, city, precinct, whatever that might be. So I think that brings me to the end of my little Prezzo.
Hello, Miranda. I think we couldn't see the slides change from our end.
Oh, right. Sorry, you couldn't see any of those slides?
Nope.
Oh, so you got stuck on the first one?
Yep.
Oh, David, you're on mute. Sorry.
I saw the last one, but I think there were quite a few in between that we missed.
Let me try again. Sorry, I didn't realize.
That's all right.
I sent you a message.
This is the last one.
Yeah, so you could see this one, but you obviously missed this one.
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah.
Only the first one and the last one.
Oh, how weird. Okay, sorry about that, guys. So, and sorry, because I couldn't see you because the way Teams work, so apologies for that. So this one was just, I've talked through this one. In terms of the diagrams, this is the one about Barangaroo, which is a precinct in Sydney, which is currently, those 3 towers have already been designed. And it's just more showing that ecosystem view of that it's looking at everything that a built environment might have an impact on, which is, energy, and it's also including like how can they be zero waste to make sure that they're composting and being able to what do you call it, get rid of their waste in the best way to have zero impact or zero emissions. And then there's also looking at reuse of water, and it's also making sure that it's right near a transportation hub. To Ring's point before, how she can just go out and within a few minutes she can access public transportation. So they've had all those sort of design concepts in place, and renewable energy and all that sort of stuff. And so this is the planetary boundaries. Sorry, so you couldn't see this. So this is where I was talking about the green is a safe space for us. And then the yellow is where we're sort of reaching the limit. And then the orange is, sorry, can you guys still see this?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, we can see it.
Okay, perfect. And yeah, so the red, the orange, they're the three that we've actually exceeded. So I don't know if we can see my cursor, but the N and P at the bottom, that's nitrogen, that's phosphorus, and I can't remember what the E is for, but in terms of biodiversity. So that's the areas that we've done, like we've well overshot it, which is why before I was talking about regenerative, this is why we need to be regenerative, because we've just gone too far. And then this is the donut. So that outside layer is the environmental one, and then the inside is the social stuff I was talking about, and then the space in between is that safe operating space. So
EMSY stands for extinctions per million species.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Dr. Google. Anyway, so I'm an expert on any of this, but this is just stuff that, well, dino economics is very big out there right now, and so that's why they've created the Action Lab, because it's theory is one thing, but let's put it into practice. And so there's so much stuff around at the minute about how do we make this actually happen, so that we can limit that warming by 1.5 degrees and make it a place that everyone wants to live and they can thrive and earn that income and put that roof over their head and access food, nutritious food, and things that we've talked about in this group before. So yeah, happy to take any questions, but caveat is I'm not an expert in this.